Good day, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another session of BusinessWorld Insights. I'm Sam L. Marcelo, BusinessWorld's multimedia editor, and I will be your host and moderator for today's session. Over the past few months, we've discussed the severe effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and what measures we should take to move forward from this crisis. We also delved into equally important topics, such as cancer care in the now normal. Today, we will focus on one of the most common types of cancer in the world, lung cancer. According to the World Health Organization, lung cancer accounted for 11.6% of total cancer diagnoses in 2018 alone. This disease is responsible for 18.4% of all cancer deaths worldwide. In 2018, the Philippines saw over 17,000 new cases of lung cancer and over 15,000 lung cancer-related deaths. This alarming increase in incidence and mortality rates opened an important battleground in the healthcare community. But it is also notable that because of access to medical information, various medical innovations, and healthcare laws, lung cancer is no longer an automatic death sentence. Today, we are lucky to have a medical expert and two public personalities who will share with us their insights on how we can work together to eliminate the lung cancer stigma and how we can overcome this disease. Let's welcome on screen Dr. Arthur Luy from the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology and Hope from Within ambassadors Nina Corpuz and Ariela Arida. Hey, everyone.
Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Sam. Thank you, and we're glad to be here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My honor and pleasure to be here with you this afternoon.
To kick off this session, I'd like to invite Ariela on screen, please. Ariela, as briefly mentioned earlier, we now know that lung cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer and the leading cause of cancer death across the globe. And sadly, I understand that you lost your father to this disease. While this is a painful memory to remember, I hope you can share your story with our viewers today. I have a lot of questions for you, but before that, let's play your video.
My dad's name is Erlacito and my mom's name is Estela. That's how I got my name, Ariela. My dad, sobrang positive ang effect niya sa mga tao. Growing up in Laguna, ang first memory ko sa kanya is that he was strict. But that's only because he was looking out for me and my sister. My fondest memory of him is yung kung gaano siya ka-humble. Never siyang naging materialistic. He taught us to embrace the simple things in life. Problem solver din siya. Whenever anyone in the family needed help, kami man or mga kapatid niya, he was always ready to go there. Kahit pa 3 in the morning. And my dad was so strong. Nasanay siya yung laging tumutulong sa iba. So nasanay din siyang hindi humingi ng tulong. Huwag siya na yung may kailangan. He didn't want to worry anyone. That's why, for the longest time, he never told us he was in pain. Until the pain got unbearable. Nung nirush namin siya sa hospital, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Immediately, I took on the role as dad's caregiver. Ako yung tagahanap ng doctor sa Manila. Then, I'd come back to Laguna para alagaan naman siya. And this was on top of working so I could pay for his checkups and tests. Ang hirap. Looking back, it would have been really great if I had found out about Hope from Within sooner. Hope from Within is an inspirational community on how to overcome cancer. Hindi lang to pang cancer patients, pang caregivers din. The community teaches the importance of early detection. Yun kasi ang first step para labanan ng disease. It provides awareness about innovative treatment options that can improve overall survival and provide quality of life. Malaking tulong sana sa family ko yung ganong information. Because ang one and only experience kasi namin with cancer was with our grandfather who died shortly after niya mag-chemotherapy. Hope from Within also shares encouraging stories coming from cancer patients, caregivers, survivors, and medical experts. Malaking inspiration din sana sa dad ko yun. And those would have motivated my dad to go on. My dad was 74 years old when he finally passed on. He fought hard, but I am thankful that he's no longer in pain. I am thankful also that by being his caregiver, I was able to be like him, a stronger version of myself. Ako yung naging solid foundation ng dad and mom ko. At para sa kanila, natutunan kong maging strong and selfless. So for those who are going through the challenges of being a caregiver, lagi nyo lang pakinggan yung loved one nyo. Paramdam nyo lagi sa kanila na they have the support of family. The hardest fought battles are often won because of a strong and hopeful support system that help us through. And for those who already see the signs, consult your doctor immediately. Understanding your cancer journey helps you understand your condition better. It also helps to learn about your options. And in that way, pwedeng magtulungan kayo ng doktor nyo. That way also, mas active ang involvement nyo sa sarili nyong pagaling. Hope from Within is here to guide you. Naniniwala ako, no one should take the cancer journey alone.
All right. Thank you for that inspiring video, Ariella, for that story of strength and family. We've spoken about cancer care numerous times already, and it always boils down to one key message: empower patients to seek professional care. Ariella, how did your father's cancer diagnosis and his journey change your view of life? And how did the experience affect or change you as a person?
Hi, Sam. Well, sorry, I got too emotional again when I heard and saw the video again. But yes, just to share my story, actually, first time hearing that my dad has cancer, it was really devastating. It feels like my world really, falling apart at that moment. And of course, I've got through that stage of denial at first before I fully accepted that this is the reality. And I think it happened also to my mom and to my dad as well. That's why for us, it took time for us to ask doctors, to ask friends, and to even share it to our relatives that this is the reality that we are facing. And yeah, but we have really no choice but to face it, with my mom, with my sister, and also my dad's siblings. So we really accepted it. And during that time, I would say that what helped me and my family to really go through this is that the strong faith that we have. I'm really lucky that instead of feeling very negative about what's happening to us during the time, it gave me more inspiration. It gave me more sense of purpose, I would say. And yeah, sometimes I would ask God and I would really ask him why this happened to us. But like at the end of the day, the answer would always be this happened because I'm here for a bigger purpose. I'm here for a reason. And yeah, because of that, I fully realized that I'm here to serve and care for my dad. with no limitations, no boundaries, and no conditions, and how I wish I could still serve and care for him at this moment. Like, I don't mind going back all through those hardships and what we have been through just to save my dad and just to be with him. It's really like I would go through with it again. Yeah, so Sam, to share with you, I've been a caregiver of my dad for 2.5 years actually, and yeah, I've got a lot of realization, like how much I've loved my dad, how much I can do everything for him. And I guess one of the major changes in me, like personally and with my family, is that we're really not that affectionate type of family. Like growing up, me, I tend to be really shy on how I would share my feelings to my dad and to my mom. Not because I'm scared that I might feel rejected or what. It's just maybe we're not that open, but we know we're close. And like anytime I can rely to them, and I can count on them. It's just that like telling to them in front of them how much I love them. It's something that it's so hard for me to tell also during my younger days. But because of this journey that we've been through, this experience, it made me open myself more to my parents, especially to my dad. I've never been that affectionate ever. But because of this journey, it taught me to be that open and more affectionate to him. Like I really tell him how much I love him, that how much I would do everything just for him to make him feel better. Because I think this is very important for the patient to feel and to remember that he has this good support system for him to really hold on and for him to really fight for this battle. And I hope and I know that it helped my dad so much. My dad was really strong. Like I remember up to the last minute, he was really fighting. He would really know what medicine to take, what would make him feel better. But it's just that his body can't hold it anymore. It's too much pain for him. If yeah, I will remember those last times. And yeah, and even on our part, it pains us so much. That's why also it made me also the stronger version of myself that I didn't think that I could be, because I thought for the past years, like, living independently, I thought I've learned so much. I know what to do. Like, if I have these problems, I would know how would I face it. But it's really pala different if it's your family that's has this kind of adversity in your life. It's so hard, especially if it's your dad or it's your parents. It's like before this happened, they are really my great inspiration and my source of strength. That's why I keep on building up my career, really working. It's all for them, not only for myself. But then at the same time, when this happened, when my dad has been diagnosed with cancer, it's just a snap, and I felt like I'm the weakest at that thing. And for all that she did for my dad talaga, because most of the time siya talaga yung kasama ng dad ko. We never had like a someone that would look for my dad. It's just my mom and my dad's siblings and me also. Like coming from work from Manila, I would go back to Laguna to take care of him, those days. But I've never regret any single of those time really taking care of my dad. And so yeah, with that journey, it made me really learn so much, not just learning more about myself, my family, but as life as a whole and how to face this kind of problem. So yes, being a caregiver, Sam, really can test everything. My faith, yung diskarte ko sa buhay, yung priorities ko, all of a sudden, biglang nagkaroon ng liwanag. And that's why parang I get more inspired. That's why I've worked so hard, because I'm doing this. I have a greater sense of purpose. And yeah, I would say this has been the strongest version of myself because of the journey that I had been through.
All right. Thank you for that message of strength, Ariela. Galing, grabe. Thank you for that reminder also to be open to the people you love and not to take anything
Yeah.
for granted while we're here. Ariela, mirroring your story, patients may sometimes hold back information regarding their condition, tulad ng dad mo, like you only found out really late na, or altogether ignore symptoms until it's too late. How important is it to have a proactive hand in the cancer journey, whether you're a patient or a caregiver?
Yeah, I would say talaga, we can't blame them, especially it's really hard to accept when you know that it has been diagnosed, that it's there. So sometimes it would go through like stages before you fully accepted it. But now, with my experience, I've learned so much, and I don't want people to have this kind of experience. Like, I hope they can like someone, they would know someone who can turn themselves to whenever they have relatives who had experiences the same journey as mine. And that's why Hope from Within is here, because this is a community that would really guide us. And yeah, I know that being proactive in this cancer journey as a patient and caregiver is really important. So we really have to know this kind of battle that we're facing in, because if we're familiar with this disease, with what kind of cancer your patient have, and even you as a caregiver, we would know the proper treatments that's available for our patient. And yeah, I hope that I've known that from the very start. And I would always tell too that, based from the experience of my dad, that proper mindset is really important. I guess my dad has been really so strong, and after he had accepted the faith, I mean that he's been diagnosed. I mean, he is super strong, and I think with like every one of us, the patient, the caregivers, and people who have been in this journey, we should all have that proper mindset, and let's not feel powerless about this, because there would always treatments for this, and let's always things let's always think that there are things that we can do now to protect ourselves. That's why it's really important to be proactive in facing this kind of journey. And yeah, I really believe in that by sharing this story, I can put awareness to everybody who has the same experience as mine. And through this awareness, we can build this kind of initiatives that can really help for cancer prevention and control, and on which most of our patients and also caregivers would need in times like this. Especially, it's so hard to get sick in our situation right now. That's why, yeah, just share your stories, tell us what happened, because it would really be a great help. And let's not feel powerless, because there would always be treatment for this, and we could always face this together with a good support system, and of course with this kind of community, Hope from Within, that would guide us through the way.
Okay, so it's important really to have a proper mindset and to know that you have a support
Yeah.
system. Thanks, Ariela. One more thing, could you tell us, since you're an ambassador for Hope from Within, how this advocacy helps Filipinos?
Yeah, like what I've mentioned, Sam, that people might think that sharing story or sharing your experiences would not you really do any better, but actually it's a big start for us to have this kind of awareness. That's why I'm willingly sharing my stories about what happened to my dad, even if it really still pains me and it brings back all those memories I had with him. But it's the awareness that where we can start it from, because it's through their awareness, your story, my story. This would be all great source of strength and hope to everyone who has the same journey as mine. And I know that this awareness, like what I've said, would build this kind of, initiatives that can strengthen cancer prevention and control. So people won't be afraid anymore and won't have this kind of stigma that when you're diagnosed with it, it's like you're being powerless because there's no solution or there's no treatment. Well, in fact, thanks to the technology right now, to the medical experts, to all this advancement, because we have treatment options available to the patients and to everyone who has been battling in this kind of journey. That's why me as an ambassador here, I won't get tired sharing my story actually, just so I could also listen to your story as well. Because through this, we would learn from each other, and this is like a community of people supporting people, and this is what we need, especially in times like this.
All right. So we're not alone. No one is alone. Thank you for being brave and for sharing your story, Ariella. Now we proceed to the next part of today's session. I'll see you again later, Ariella. All right.
Okay, thank you so
Cancer is a disease that is no longer considered an automatic death sentence thanks to better knowledge, medical advancements, and innovative treatment options made accessible to more people. One of the examples that we can cite is Vanessa Ong's story. She is a wife, a mother of 3 beautiful girls, an artist, and a businesswoman from Davao City. Joining us for this segment is Ms. Vanessa Ong's medical oncologist, Dr. Arthur Lui. Hey,
Hello.
Doc Arthur.
Good afternoon. My pleasure and my honor to be here with you this afternoon, Sam.
Doc Arthur, can you please tell us Ms. Vanessa Ong's story from a medical professional's perspective?
Yeah, so I met Vanessa back in 2017. So I saw her around July, August of that year. So she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which was actually an incidental finding for something that she consulted not related to the lung cancer. Unfortunately, at that time, when we did some tests, imaging, we saw that the cancer has already involved many parts of the body. This has involved several organs, and there was really a lot of disease in the body. So during this time, we really explored different options for her, treatment options. So things that we considered was that she was young, she was very active, she has a young family. So these are the things that we considered, and we looked for the most appropriate treatment for her. So it took quite a while, but there were some challenges that we encountered, but ultimately I think she did very well with her treatment.
Okay, thanks, Doc. Doc, from what I understand from what you just shared with us, Miss Vanessa is a health-conscious individual, and she's relatively young compared to those who typically get lung cancer, and yet she was still diagnosed with the disease. Doc, what other factors could increase a person's risk of developing advanced lung cancer, and how important is early detection?
Yeah, so yes, very surprisingly, even we were all surprised with Vanessa. Vanessa is a very fit, health-conscious woman, but unfortunately, she got cancer. So what we know about lung cancer is that still majority are caused by known risk factors. And these risk factors are something that we know, like smoking, secondhand smoke, exposure to asbestos, to some chemicals. These are things that we know. There are some people, and majority of the lung cancers really are these people who have these risk factors. There are some people who do not have these risk factors, but basically really just have a strong family history of cancer, not just lung cancer, but a strong family history of cancer. And that puts them at higher risk of getting cancers in general. But there are also a subset of our patients who really just have sporadic cancers. These are cancers that unfortunately just appeared. We still do not really understand what caused them, but this really has cancer that has just appeared in someone who has no known risk factors. And your second question was that you were asking about the importance of early diagnosis. And I always would want to take this opportunity to stress the importance of early diagnosis, not just for lung cancer, but across all cancers in general. No? So we have several cancers that have good screening available that allows early detection. And what really happens when we detect cancer earlier is that we can offer better chances of success in treatment, whether this is curative, meaning you want to make the cancer not come back, no? So that's curative intent, or whether palliative intent, whether you want to control the disease. Early detection is very important because this will help us plan the treatment, makes us the odds of successful treatment becomes better, and this is where we really talk about talking to your healthcare providers, telling your family what you are feeling, so that you can go to your doctor and try to see what is the best treatment available for you. And this is not just for lung, as I said, breast cancer is a cancer that is very treatable, colorectal cancers, and all the other cancers. Prostate cancer is also one. So early detection means better chances of cure, better treatment outcomes if we detect this early. Back to you, Sam.
All right, everyone, you heard Doc. The earlier you find out, the better your chances. Doc, speaking specifically about Miss Vanessa, how did you decide on the appropriate treatment course? Maybe could you walk us through the treatment options that were considered for her case, and how the treatment that was chosen improves the quality of life for patients?
Okay. So specifically for Vanessa, I saw her back in 2017. So during that time, I think lung cancer is one type of cancer that has really improved in terms of outcomes, in terms of our medical researches, all the clinical trials. This really lung cancer is one cancer that has really improved over the past couple of years. So for Vanessa, when I saw her in 2017, how you would go through the treatment options for lung cancer basically is that if you see a lung cancer patient, the first question that you will always ask is that, are there any mutations that's driving this cancer? And that is always a standard of care on how we will approach a case with lung cancer. So we always look for mutations that's driving the cancer. And it's very important nowadays to try to search for these mutations. Mutations basically, if I explain this in simple words, is that mutation is that signal inside the cell that makes the cancer cells grow. And it's very important to find out if there is any type of mutations that run the cancer. And reason for that is that the treatment for mutation-driven lung cancers is that you would want to give them targeted treatment. So whether this is a certain type of mutation called EGFR or ALK or ROS, then this is a mutation that you would want to give a specific targeted treatment. So for Vanessa, back in 2017, we had an extensive workup for all of these mutations, and we did not find any mutation during this time. So we proceeded to do a test that will see if she would respond to immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is one of the newest game changer in lung cancer treatment, and also in other tumor types, that it really changed the way we treat cancer. So the immunotherapy basically are the drugs that we give today that upregulates the immune system to fight the cancer. So for Vanessa, this was what I considered at that time. Unfortunately, she was during this time not eligible to get just immunotherapy alone, because based on studies, we choose a specific subset of patients who would likely respond to immunotherapy alone. So during this time, again, in 2017, no, so there were a lot of researches going on, a lot of presentations in conferences worldwide. And I came across a very new study that time that combining chemotherapy with immunotherapy. It was still at that time based on a small study. We were able to see that combining these two drugs will probably improve outcomes, no? And that was what I discussed with Vanessa. So I told Vanessa that, we know that there is good evidence. So today, I think it's standard of care to combine this treatment. But during that time, it still was based on small studies, no? But it was very promising. So I talked to her about it. I said, do you want to try this option? Because as I discussed, no, not just to Vanessa, but to all my patients, if you have stage 4 cancer, no, or lung cancer, or cancer for that matter, no, what's very important is that if we choose a treatment, we know that this treatment has to be efficacious. It has to give you outcomes. It has to control the disease, make you feel, control the disease and make you live longer. But again, this treatment also has to give you an acceptable quality of life. And these are the things that these are the driving principles when I choose a treatment for my patients. Then ultimately, given that Vanessa's young, we need to make her life more meaningful with her family. That's why we ultimately chose this novel treatment combination. And I am, up to today, I'm still very glad that she responded remarkably well to this treatment combination. Sam?
All right. Thanks, Doc, for walking us through the steps and for explaining in layman's terms how you decide on treatments. So you touched on this a bit. You said that she was responding well. Could you expand on that? Like, given Miss Vanessa's condition, how has she responded to the treatment, Doc?
Yeah. So during that time when we started her treatment, so there was we followed her. We followed her through imaging, through PET scans, through CT scans, and what we saw was that there was significantly good control of her disease. We see that some of the diseases have really regressed. So these are diseases that become smaller based on imaging. And at the same time, so she responded very well, and she also was able to maintain a good quality of life. So during that time, she was running a coffee shop here in Davao, so she was able to function well. She was able to perform her role and her duty as a mom to 3 beautiful daughters. She was very efficient, so she was able to maintain a good quality of life. And what really matters here is that if you see Vanessa really is well up to today, which is very good, because we know before, prior to the advent of these drugs that really change treatment outcomes, we don't typically see people live a good quality of life and live long with stage 4 lung cancer. So overall, until now, so she's responding very well. So she continues to respond. Actually, we have already changed treatment, but again, good quality of life, able to maintain her activities of daily living. She is a happy person, happy mom, happy wife. Sam?
Gosh, Doc, that is so great to hear. I'm so glad to hear that Miss Vanessa's running again, and like she's basically living as normal a life as one can live. Doc, could you tell us, please, why it's so important for patients to trust their doctors and have open communication with them?
Yeah. So what I always tell my patients is that cancer patients, patients afflicted with cancer, are part of a very vulnerable population. Now, these are patients, these are people, now, these are persons who one way or the other are very vulnerable. You will have people good meaning people, not tell you this, tell you that, send you this, eat that, no. But I think ultimately what is important is that let's keep our communications and trust to the doctors who are taking care of you. We would do our best to at least offer you what is the best available treatment for you, or what is the most um, um, appropriate and what was the correct treatment for you. Now, we in the Philippines, we have a society of the medical oncologists, and we are a 200 plus strong society members, where we are all over the Philippines. So it's not just in one part of the Philippines. So we are here, no, but please keep that option, keep that communication open with your doctors. Now let's discuss what's the best treatment for you. We try to stick to science, to try to stick to what is what evidence that we have, no? Because when we offer treatment based on solid evidence, no? Solid scientific evidence, solid treatment, that solid scientifically sound treatment, no? Because that ultimately will make that the a better outcomes, no, for all of us. So keep your options open. No, don't be afraid to ask questions. I always tell my patients, now go ahead, Google this, Google that, but please print them out or talk to me about it. Let's go through them one by one. And and I'm sure, no, all the other doctors are very willing to sit down and go through all of these questions with you, because there's so many myths and not really facts out there. No, it's a dangerous world in the internet. But please talk to your doctors. We swear to the fact that we will not offer any treatment that it will be harmful to you. Sam?
All right. So what I am hearing from all of this is that doctors are on our side. They have our best interests in mind. So talk to them. Talk to the doctors, like Dr. Louis. Doc, one last question before I let you go. Aside from the physical and emotional burden, the financial burden also weighs upon many cancer patients. From your perspective, Doc, how important is it that treatment options are made available not only in Manila, but across the country as well?
Yeah, so I think, no, if we understand the burden of cancer is not just focused in one part of the Philippines, no, it's not just you just don't see cancer patients only in Metro Manila, no. So I'm from Davao. I practice here, no. I practice both in a private hospital as well as in a government-run facility, no. So the burden of disease, no, the burden of cancer really encompasses the entire country, encompasses the entire the different age groups. You have very young patients, you have adult patients, you have elderly patients. And really what is important is that and I think we experienced this most is that when during the lockdown, no? So this was back in March, April, where there was a lockdown of the entire country. So if you understand, no, Davao City, we do not just cater to Davao City. Our cancer centers here do not just cater to Davao City, but we cater to a big part of Mindanao. No? But because of the lockdown, no, we were unable to deliver adequate cancer care, no, even the diagnostics, no, because we know we're doctors who need a lot of tests, molecular tests, sending the specimen to Manila, no, but suddenly you cut everything out, then we had very limited options during that time. So there was really that difficulty, even the access to medicine, no, but the importance of strengthening the cancer centers, not just in Metro Manila, but all over the country. This will allow us to improve cancer outcomes, because remember, cancer is not a death sentence up front. No, it doesn't work that way anymore. We have cancers that are have curative intent treatment. The goal is we want to cure, or we have very good outcomes for a certain type of cancer. And this is the reason why we need to make these treatments available, not just in one center, or not just in big urbanized cancer centers, but we have to make this available for every Filipino cancer patient, and that ultimately is a goal, no, that we want to achieve, no, as doctors treating cancer, no, seeing a treatment, no, not just say, I'm from this far flung area, I have no access to treatment. I just accept the fact that nothing can be done, no. So really the importance of making every Filipino patient, no, get an appropriate treatment for cancer, no, that is very important, no, as we move forward. Sam?
All right. So all lives are equally valuable. It doesn't matter where you live. Treatment should be available to everyone, everywhere. Thank you, Doc. Now let's welcome back Hope from Within's Tita Hope, Nina Corpus, and Ariela Arida.
Hi,
Uh,
Sam.
hey, welcome back. But this first question is to Doc Arthur again. The story of Miss Vanessa is proof of how treatment options can provide lung cancer patients better quality of life. It highlighted how important it is for cancer patients to have access to innovative treatments. Doc, in your opinion, what needs to be done to ensure that more Filipino patients can have access to quality cancer care?
Yeah. I think more than anything else, I think it really boils down to policies, right? To a national policy. It's really a law, though. And I think what is significant in the past years was the passing of the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. No? So this was signed in 2019. So the National Integrated Cancer Control Act is a very ideal law that has been passed. No? So this law takes into account the different phases of cancer, the journey that the cancer patient goes through, even from early diagnosis and to diagnosis of the disease to the treatment, whether this is surgery, this is getting drug therapy like chemotherapy, hormone therapy, immunotherapy, targeted therapy, to symptom control, to palliative care. No? The entire spectrum is covered by the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. This is a very ideal law. The implementing rules and regulations, the IRR, I believe, has been in place a couple of months ago. The bigger part now, the bigger challenge now is to try to implement this law. No? So the implementation will take so much effort, it has budget concerns, etc. So these are things that we, as a society, the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology has been pushing forward to be able to, enact, no, and implement the law. And hopefully, if we have these laws in place, the law in place, no, hopefully with the universal health care coming in, no, we will be able to give every Filipino cancer patient the appropriate treatment, hopefully the ideal and the best treatment, no, that we can offer them. Sam?
Okay, I think this is interesting to our viewers. Can we talk a little bit more about the National Integrated Cancer Control Act, or NICA? So, Doc, what treatment options are subsidized under the Act?
Yeah. So this is a very ideal law, is that it covers the entire spectrum, as I said earlier. Now, remember, cancer treatment, you can't go to treatment without getting the diagnostics, without getting diagnosed first, getting the workup. No? And when it comes to treatment, now, what is in the law is that it will subsidize surgery, no? Taking out the cancer, drug therapy. So that involves in cancer, very important is chemotherapy, which we know chemotherapy is still curative for a good number of cancers. No? So that's your breast, your colorectal, your lymphomas, your leukemias. Then we have the novel treatments. No? Because remember, cancer is not only limited now to just chemotherapy, no? Unlike in the 1970s, 1980s, where we all just give chemotherapy to all cancer patients. It doesn't work that way anymore. No? So we have now the NICA now also includes the novel treatments available, targeted treatment for breast cancer, for lung cancer, hormone therapy. We have very good hormone therapy for certain types of cancer, and even immunotherapy. Hopefully, if this will be available, it will be definitely a big welcome. No? So aside from the surgery, the chemotherapy, the drug therapy, we also have the other therapies like radiotherapy. Radiotherapy can be curative in intent, can be palliative in intent. It alleviates discomfort, pain for our patients afflicted with cancer. No? So these are the things that are encompassed with the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. No? And at the same time, no, what is very important is that, remember, once we treat cancer, we just do not treat the disease. No? We treat the person. We treat how this person feels. No? And what's very important is that quality of life is acceptable. We always now talk about also the palliative aspect of that, you know, the making sure the symptoms are controlled, quality of life is acceptable. These are things that are included in the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. Sam?
All right. It's so good to hear that we actually have a law in place, and it sounds pretty comprehensive. Thank you, Dr. Arthur. Nina, would you like to add something to Doc's answer?
Well, another significant thing that we want to highlight about the NICA is that the passage of this law was a direct result of civil society, patient support organizations, and medical societies joining forces to work on cancer control. So it was spearheaded by the Cancer Coalition Philippines, who consulted with other cancer organizations, cancer patients, survivors, and their families, everyone coming together, and as mentioned, as well as the patient support groups and medical societies, bringing them together not just once, not just twice, but on several occasions to shape a common agenda, framework, and provisions for the proposed NICA. I think it's a huge achievement that the advocates were able to gather all stakeholders together and on the same page. So the strategy was to connect and collect, which was to align with all stakeholders, then continuously gather information, perspectives, and of course, partners to intensify support, sustain momentum, and solidify agreements on priorities for cancer control in the country. So this achievement was very essential to ensure a solid and unified voice within the cancer community in the Philippines and ensure a strong sense of ownership of NICA and the commitment to its implementation nationally.
All right. It really takes a village. It really takes a village to get this done.
Very true.
And this is the support system that Ariella was talking about earlier. Nina, another question for you, please. Can you reintroduce us to the Cancer Game Plan Report? What is it about and why is it significant to local healthcare?
So the CGP, or the Cancer Game Plan Report, is a multi-stakeholder advocacy that aims to raise awareness towards initiatives that can help strengthen cancer prevention and control in the Philippines. So CGP believes that initiatives should have patients at the center, particularly regarding access to the cancer continuum to be able to make an impact. So a strong and involved patient voice along with public and private stakeholders that are willing to listen and put this into action. So, you know, it's very important. We have a law, but really it has to be implemented. We need this to shape the development of cancer programs, as well as to strengthen and empower the LGUs to contribute in the process to make the implementation more efficient, expedient, and beneficial to all stakeholders in the health system. So the CGP basically believes, as I've said, we've always repeated, we want action put into the discussions around cancer that we've had for many years now.
All right. Nina, can you talk more about CGP? When did CGP start?
So for the viewers and our listeners to fully grasp the history behind this initiative, let's go back to 2018. Hope from Within, together with different stakeholders, held a Cancer Game Plan Summit 2 years ago. And so after the summit, in 2019, as mentioned earlier by Doc, two legislations, the Universal Healthcare Law and the NICA, were signed. So meanwhile, the CGP report is a health impact projection model or research conducted by medical professionals such as Dr. Madeline Valera, former Undersecretary of Health of the DOH, and the medical oncologist Dr. Gerardo or Dr. Jerry Cornelio of St. Luke's Medical Center, along with top representatives from MSD in the Philippines. The research shows how innovative treatment options like immunotherapy allows cancer patients to enjoy added years to their life and added life to their years. This means getting a new lease on life after cancer, living life like normal, like what we've heard earlier in the case of Miss Vanessa. For example, natututukan mo pa rin yung business mo, nakakapasyal ka pa rin with your family, and you don't really get to experience the supposed debilitating effects na lagi nating naririnig, yung sobrang panghihinat at hindi ka na makalabas ng bahay. So you can still live a full life. So this is what they call added life to years or progression-free life years, quality-adjusted life years, avoidance of adverse effects, and overall improved health gains between 5 and 10-fold. These promising results should be turned into an action plan that can benefit every Filipino, especially those in the lower income brackets who still deserve quality healthcare. So let me just reiterate, legislations like the UHC and the NICA really need to move along, finding solutions to provide equitable and sustainable access to these life-saving innovative treatments to more Filipinos is even more important now during this time of the pandemic.
All right. Thank you, Nina, for taking us through that. Yeah, so it's good to have laws in place, but we also want to see results. We need to see action. Doc Arthur, can we say that we are now in an era where lung cancer patients are living better? If the answer is yes, what makes this possible?
Yes. No, so definitely yes. I think if we just go back a couple of years ago, if we look at say how we treat cancer in the early 1990s, wherein we just know that a combination of chemotherapy was the best that we had, and if you have stage 4 lung cancer, combination chemotherapy gives you median survival of a couple of months. No, I think today how we treat lung cancer is so much different from how we treated lung cancer 10, 15 years ago. Today we just don't treat cancers as one type of lung cancer. No? We now go dive deeper into the molecular type of lung cancer. We know what mutation is driving this cancer. Is there a good target for treatment? Is there an option to use the body's own immune system, like the immunotherapy treatments that we have? Is there a combination treatment, a targeted treatment in chemo, immunotherapy, and chemo, etc.? No, and what we really saw, and a good example of that is Vanessa. No, so I'm still very inspired by her up to today. No, I see her up to today, and really, what you see is that you have now stage 4 lung cancer patients, and you're talking years, added years into their lives, and not just years, no, but you have a good quality years added to their lives, no? And that's very important, no, not just for Vanessa, but hopefully for every Filipino cancer patient, no, that we see. And again, no, as mentioned earlier, what's important is that we have these laws in place, no, but we have to implement it. We have to make sure that this is there to make it available for our Filipino cancer patients. Sam?
Okay, it's so awesome to hear from you that we've made these strides in 10, 15 years, and that patients have more options open to them, and that thanks to these medical advancements, patients can enjoy their lives while on medication, as they should. Last questions to Nina and Ariella. Apart from making access to treatment and medication as easy as possible, how else can we show our support for cancer patients during this difficult time? Nina, perhaps you can go first, and then Ariella next.
Yes, well, I'm here to share my voice, to continue to engage and make people aware that there is a NICA law and a cancer game plan that need to be put into action. We hope to encourage everyone to please share their voices so that together we can make this voice stronger and really make a difference. You know, my grandmother also died of lung cancer, so it's also quite personal to me. Cancer is something that I don't want anyone to go through. So let's say you're not going through that right now, but you will never know. I think, at this stage, knowing what we know now about cancer, it can happen to anyone. So it can happen to you maybe tomorrow, next week, next month. I just like to let everyone know that we should all band together, put our voices together, because ultimately this is our problem. And also, I understand that it's a very difficult time for everyone. And if you think about that, how much more for people with cancer right now? We're all experiencing the lockdown fatigue, and sometimes it can take its toll on our mental health. So I guess I also want to say at this point that if you know someone experiencing, depression or feeling so bad about what they're going through, especially those who are battling the big C, they might need encouragement and someone to talk to. Maybe, a text message or a Zoom call will go a long way. My point is, at this point, we all need to connect and listen to each other. Sometimes just simply being a friend can make a lot of difference to someone battling a disease such as cancer, as well as, their caregivers and their loved ones as well. Sam.
All right. Thank you, Nina. Ariella?
Yeah, in addition with what Miss Nina said, I really believe in the power of mind. And like what Nina said, that a good support system is really powerful in times like this. If we know that the proper mind, we have the patients, caregivers, and people around us with that proper mindset and very supportive of us, that would be really important, and also that's why I'm very glad that there's hope from within, because we know that this community, it really provides encouragement, strength, and hope, which is, I feel like I should have known it sooner during the time that I'm experiencing this kind of journey. That's why I've been telling to everybody to, share your story with us, because we are here to listen, especially if you don't know any particular that you would ask to about the disease or on how to handle your patient. Hope from within would be really a great source of strength and hope to everybody. That's why now, yeah, share your story, and we are here to listen, and join our Hope for Lung Cancer Facebook group, because through there we can, learn from each other, support each other, and together we will all fight this cancer battle during this difficult time.
Okay, so listen to each other, reach out, and be there for each other. To all our speakers, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you'd like to share with our viewers today? Dr. Arthur, you have the floor. Then we can move to Ariella and then Nina to close us out.
Yeah, so again, no, as we've discussed earlier, we want to make treatment available for all patients in the Philippines. Then again, this is the law is in place. The NICA law, the UHC is there. But our society, the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology, has really been in the forefront, no, to try to implement the NICA law, no? And we have the law there, we have the IRR there as well. But what is lacking right now is the council, no? The council that is comprised of made up of the doctors, patient representatives, different stakeholders. That is what is lacking right now. This will enable them to enact the NICA law, no? And that is what is important, because at the end, that is what will benefit the Filipino cancer patient. So, if I may, Sam, allow me to read a statement from the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology. It's our petition to sign for the Cancer Assistance Fund. No? So if I may proceed. No? So as an act of solidarity with our cancer patients, the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology started this campaign called Sign the Petition for Cancer Assistance Fund Now. This appeals for the approval of the DOH's Cancer Assistance Fund to support the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. We posted the petition on our website. You can visit it at www.psmo.org.ph. The petition also appeals for the establishment of the National Integrated Cancer Control Council, which is integral to the implementation of the NICA. As we all know, the provisions of the said law have yet to be realized, and the Cancer Control Council will be a crucial early step for it to move forward. The National Integrated Cancer Control Council shall act as the policy-making, planning, and coordinating body on cancer control attached to the Department of Health. The Council shall provide technical guidance and support and oversee the implementation of this act, ensuring the judicious best use of available resources for the benefit of all, especially the most vulnerable sectors of our society, like the elderly, the children, the women, the poor, the marginalized, and the disadvantaged. So sila po talaga yung nagpapatakbo ng batas na ito. We also ask for your help in sharing the said petition through social media and to any of your influential friends so that we can gather more signatures. We target 25,000 signatures and we're presently at 18,917. So that's about 6,100 more. Isang mahalagang hakbang para sa mga mahal nating cancer patients ang pagkakalagda ng National Integrated Cancer Control Act. Ngayon, panahon na para sabay-sabay nating bantayan ang aktual na implementasyon nito. Ang unang hakbang, ang maipasa ang budget na iuukol para sa mga benepisyong ipinangako ng NICA sa mga cancer patients. So ang petisyon na ito ay naglalayong maparinig sa mga kinauukulan ang pagdanais nating maaprubahan ang Cancer Assistance Fund line item sa budget ng DOH. Kaya inuulit ko po, www.psmo.org.ph, or you can also visit Hope From Within Facebook page. No? Let's sign the petition. Sam?
All right. Thank you, Doc. Ariella, your message, please.
Yes, so again, as I keep on mentioning, you are not alone in this battle, especially right now that we have all these medical advancements and these innovative treatment options that would really cure or even make the patient feel better. So we will fight this all together, and that is why, again, I'm encouraging everyone to join and like the Hope From Within Facebook page and join us and tell your stories. Don't be afraid to share your stories on Hope for Lung Cancer Facebook group, because through this, you can access more information on how to navigate the cancer journey. And this is also a digital community where lung cancer patients, we also have the survivors, caregivers, advocates, and doctors, wherein they can share their experiences and pain points in their respective cancer journey. So again, don't be afraid to tell your story, and we will be here to listen for you. So you are all invited to join, and together we will win this battle.
Thank you, Ariella. Nina?
Okay, so as we've been mentioning, Hope From Within is a staunch advocate of the implementation and funding of the cancer law so that more treatment options and quality cancer care can be accessible to more Filipinos regardless of social status. So right now we are encouraging all our kababayans to please show your support for the implementation and proper funding of the cancer law by using the NICA advocacy frame. So, in your Facebook profile, there it is. There's this picture there's this frame where you can put your photo, and you can get this from Hope From Within Facebook page. So we hope you can include this frame in your profile photos, whether on Facebook or Instagram or other social media pages, so that together we can all make a stand. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, so everyone, you know what to do. Sign that petition and get that frame and show your support on social media. Okay, thank you once again to our speakers, Dr. Arthur Lui, Nina Corpus, and Ariella Arida. Our gratitude as well to our partner, Hope From Within, and to everyone who joined today's discussion. Be sure to follow Business World's social media pages for updates on our next projects. Again, this is Sam L. Marcelo, and this has been Business World Insights. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay healthy.